Is a milestone in Indian history. It's the 70th year of our independence. And to commemorate that, the Science Museum, which is one of the greatest museums in London, and if you're here for a few days, please go and see it, is running an exhibition called Illuminating India. Now, we're fortunate to have Mr. Matt Kimberley here with us, the curator of this exhibition. And apart from being a great exhibition, whilst they were putting it together, they found something incredible, absolutely incredible. So I'm not going to tell you any more than that, but can I invite Mr. Matt Kimberley on stage? Give him a warm round of applause to tell you what Illuminating India is all about.
Good evening, and thank you very much for having me here today. As was just said, this year marks the 70th anniversary of India's independence, and as such, the British Council and the Indian Ministry of Culture have put on UK India 2017, a year of culture celebrating the relationships between the two countries. This week, the Science Museum got to play its own part in that by opening Illuminating India, a 6-month season celebrating India's achievements and contributions to science, technology, art and culture. It will consist of 2 exhibitions. One, India in Photography 1857 to 2017, looks at India's unique contributions to both the technical and artistic history of photography. The other, the one with which I've been involved, is 5,000 years of science and innovation. And indeed, it really is 5,000 years to which India has been contributing to science and technology. Alongside all of this, we'll also, yes, rightly so. Alongside of this, we'll have a rich program of events and talks, so I do encourage you all to attend whatever you can for this. So, as well as 70 years of India's independence, whilst researching this particular exhibition, we also discovered that this year marks another anniversary. It's the 250th birthday of the Survey of India, which makes it the oldest continuous scientific institution in the world. The Survey of India not only produced the most accurate map of anywhere in the world at its time, but it was also responsible for establishing the precise curvature of the Earth and the height of its highest mountain, Everest. 250 years is quite a considerable length of time, I'm sure you'll agree, but for anyone familiar with India's history in science and technology, that's a blink in the eye compared to its other achievements. So the exhibition ranges from weights from the Indus Valley civilization at its very oldest object from 3000 BC. The Indus Valley civilization, of course, achieved some of the greatest works of architecture and civil engineering of the ancient world. We go right through to the most contemporary as well, with a satellite being launched by ISRO, which was done in conjunction with Surrey Satellite Technology Limited in the UK, which will be getting launched at some point in the next couple of months. So a true testament to what the UK and India can do together. I'm pleased to say we've already had excellent press reviews for the exhibition, if that helps to encourage you to come along. And I also wanted to add on a personal note, I received an email this week from a very eminent Indian scientist who said that she never thought in her lifetime she would see in one room C.V. Raman's Nobel Prize-winning spectrometer, J.C. Bose's pioneering instruments for the study of plant life, and the earliest example of zero. So I think we're all very proud to be able to bring this together. It's a particular privilege to be speaking to all of you tonight about this, because I want to stress the incomparable contributions that the Jain community have made to this story. I'll start with the first example, which I think is by far and away the most significant, and that's nothing at all, or more specifically, zero. It was believed that the oldest example of a zero, the way that we draw it now, which comes from India, and as a placeholder in a decimal counting system, was Gwalior Fort. 9th century AD, a range of exquisite Jain temples are built at the fort, and in one of them is an inscription with a number, and in that is a zero. There was one other contender for this, though. For over 100 years now, a manuscript has sat in the Bodleian Libraries in Oxford called the BAKSHALI Manuscript. It's almost a trader's manual of how to calculate your sales tax and your journey times as you travelled about the Silk Road doing business. The estimate made by scholars was that this was between the 8th and 12th century AD. Thanks to this exhibition happening, this is the first time the Bodleian have ever loaned this manuscript to another institution for exhibition. However, as a result of this, wheels were put in motion to undertake some new research on it. And so, for the first time, it has been carbon dated. 3 samples were taken from this manuscript, which is about 70 leaves of birch bark long. The first came back at the 9th or 10th century, which is a respectable age. The second was 7th or 8th century, which really began to raise questions about how exciting this could be. But it's the third sample that's had a profound impact both for the history of mathematics and for the study of classical Indian language, literature and culture. The third sample came back as the 3rd century, 500 years older than anyone had previously thought. The significance of 0 is hard to overstate. Without it, it's not just mathematics and physics that isn't possible. 0 and 1 are the 2 digits you need in order to do binary operations, which allow computing to be possible. The entire modern technical age rests upon nothing at all. And it's thanks to India and the Jain community that we have that nothing in the first place. The second example I'd like to give to you is I think a rather fitting one by comparison, and that's everything. It was Jain mathematicians over 2,000 years ago who first started to postulate that infinity could come in a variety of forms, that infinite length, area, volume were all infinite, but all equally distinct values. The way they did this in their text was through a beautiful, if complicated, visual analogy using Jambudvipa. And there was a shallow container the size of Jambudvipa, which would be filled with rapeseed until absolutely full. The next seed would spill over into a container double that size again, the ocean around Jambudvipa. And so on and so forth, as this text explains, until it says, through careful formulation, you reach the lowest of the infinite values. And in fact, the formulation set out in these Jain texts is not that different from the modern definition of infinity. We have the privilege of having on loan from the Royal Asiatic Society a beautiful cloth Jambudvipa, which is there to demonstrate this concept. The third example I want to give is a very different one, and that's of the Jaipur foot. Now, this is probably very well known internationally, prosthetic for feet and lower legs, as well as indeed other limbs today. BMVSS is the charity who helped develop these, build them and distribute them. It was founded in 1975 to mark the 2,500th anniversary of Mahavira's birth. Over 1.5 million Jaipur prosthetics have been freely distributed to people in need the world over today. The Jaipur foot is, I think, one of the best examples of Jugad, that idea of the hack or the frugal innovation, making the most of the resources and materials available in an efficient and cost-effective fashion to achieve technological innovation. The simple design, the flexible rubber materials with which it was made, in many ways made it superior to the Western prosthetics that cost substantially more and involved incredibly complex production techniques. The fourth example, also tangentially on this point, is the second oldest object in the exhibition. It comes from the same time as Mahavira would have been living and teaching, and it is a very unassuming, small rectangular silver punch-marked coin. What's so profoundly important about this is that India was one of 3 places to independently originate coin currency. This is the changing point in the history of economics. No longer do you exchange goods by barter, but by a token which you can exchange with a known quantifiable value. Nothing, everything, life-changing technologies and the shape of economic trade and commerce are not inconsiderable achievements for India and for the Jain community. Between all of these, I think it's safe to say you can see how incredibly important Jain innovators have been throughout thousands of years of Indian history and global history. And I think the Jain International Trade Organization couldn't be a more ideal place to celebrate innovators, both of the past and, like you, of the future. Finally, if I might ask somebody to join me on stage, is Sri Nemu Chandaria available to come up and join me for a moment? On behalf of the Science Museum, I would like to present to you, on behalf of the Jain community, this small token of our respect.
Thank you very much.
Indeed, you can even show people what it is if you like. I tried to get one of the original pages from the Bodleian, but they just weren't giving it up.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's an actually an honor to hear that Jains were the one who invented zero. Thank you, Matt, for letting us know. Truly appreciate your presence today. Thank you.